that have come out on how children are treated based on their looks compared to their siblings. The sibling that is the best looking tends to be the one that everybody looks out for, and tends to be the one doted upon by the parents. How many of you girls out there, when you were talking to your mom about a boy that you liked, or maybe that she wanted to set you up with, how many of your mothers would say things like, "You'll have beautiful kids. You'll have beautiful kids together. You'll have beautiful babies together"? There's a lot of women that have been taught to be pretty, make babies, be pretty, make babies. Some of them are taught just to be pretty. We get to hear from a lot of not pretty women. You know, the fat siblings. Or the ones that have acne. Ah, shit. Well, that's not going to work. I just tore a piece of paper, but it's not an important one, thank goodness. We got a lot of large women who are wanting to feel empowered now. But they're not getting the attention of the pretty girls, or the pretty siblings, we should say. The pretty sisters are still the ones getting the attention, ain't they? Well, what can we do? Those pretty girls, they get all that attention. And you got so many people that will do what the pretty person wants. And we get to see in a lot of these cases and situations where very horrible things happen. You want to blame people based on looks, appearances. I'm not the person you want to pretend that I am. You want to pretend that I'm a monster. In reality, I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to be able to go see my friends and family without having to deal with assaults for things that other people did. And people decided guilt and innocence based on what? How I look. How Natalie looks. Your assumptions of people in houses versus your assumptions of people on the streets. Why do you assume those things? Because you're told those things all the time. And the predators who pretend these things always say them so matter-of-factly, don't they? It must be true because you said so. And be damned with anybody who doesn't believe you. Well, with me, it's different. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to know. Because I need you to speak. Yeah, I'm an asshole, but I'm an asshole for a reason. I do the blaming women thing and the blaming men thing. And then I speak about the reality of the situation. We're all different. You know what I noticed about sassy fat women versus the pretty ones that are smiling at everybody? A sassy fat woman tends to have different priorities. Her priorities tend to be around keeping the people that she loves closest to her, keeping them safe. Whereas the good-looking women tend to surround themselves with people who will give them the attention they want. I try to get the right kind of attention, positive change. For over a year before Natalie was killed, I tried to get help from the people who claimed to be my friends and family, the people who claimed to love me. And they'd make promises, and I'd show up for those promises. And then they'd change their mind. Oh, I don't want to hear it, Sean. How about we try to set you up with a dating site, Sean? Come on. That ain't what I need. But I can't say that or it's... Sean, I'm just trying to help. Why don't you let me do this for you? Okay. I don't give two shits about your Chad, your good-looking boyfriend. If we're friends, I care about you. You're my friend, like a sassy fat chick. At least when you're not good-looking. You know a little bit more about your friendships. You don't see your friends as replaceable. You don't see things as status symbols. I don't know how many sassy fat grandmas I know that wanted a sewing machine. Sassy young fat women too, wanting a sewing machine. Why would you want a sewing machine? Because you can make things. Janet Roberts used to make quilts. Yeah, she was a busybody. It happens in small towns especially. People just get to talking. You start talking about somebody else in town and nobody ever shuts up. A lot of the crap that we go through daily comes from the things our parents told us. And then the shameful nature of what they showed us in comparison. Like when that little boy comes up and hits you on the playground, or that little girl comes up and hits you on the playground. You go to your parents, and they say, oh, that just means he likes you. What have you done? You've taught that person about the wrong kind of love. But then you're also going to tell them it's never okay to hit a girl. You're going to teach your boys it's never okay to hit a girl. You're going to teach a girl that she's allowed to hit a boy once. and he's not allowed to hit her back. But some of these young women, they believe that that resets every 30 seconds or less. It's horrible. And as a result, women are 30 times more likely to initiate physical combat than a man. When it comes to domestic assault, you are 30 times more likely to be hit by your girlfriend than she is actually to be hit by you. But now we're seeing people starting to give equality. If a woman hits a man and he hits her back, who should get locked up? For a woman, it's a show of power. For a woman, if she's going to hit you, she may do it out in public when she's drunk, because she knows you're not allowed to do anything about it. You just go, "What'd you hit me for?" You're not allowed to hit her back. What happens if you hit her back? Especially around a bunch of drunk people. Well, how dare you? They might beat you to fucking death, depending on where you're at. So it's a power and control thing. When she does that in public, it's to humiliate you. Humiliate. Jeez. It's to degrade and to belittle. Now, how many of these pretty women do this? A lot more than the sassy fat ones, for some odd reason. Grandma could make quilts for her and for the grandkids, for her own kids. Some of these young mothers, you'd be surprised, they're making like capes and teddy bears, and yeah, if you wanna have a bunch of teddy bears in your room, you can make your own teddy bears. I've seen a lot of people with a lot of likes. Now that sassy fat woman doesn't wear any makeup, goes about her business and goes about her day. She's a lot more likely to be family oriented. She's also a lot more likely to be down to earth. Makeup is directly proportional to self-esteem. When you're constantly in competition, like one of them pretty girls putting on makeup all the time, you have no self-esteem. Also, you never know if your friends are really your friends. Are these my friends, or do they just care because I'm pretty or I'm popular? And then there's the gifts that they want. They want this expensive dress, that expensive ring, this expensive necklace. They want their rent paid. They want their car payment paid. They want expensive shit. That sassy fat woman, she gotta work together with her friends to try to find a day that they have off when she's got to move out of a fucked up situation. One of them might show up at a moment's notice or drive a couple of 100 miles because he or she actually gives a shit, but usually no. How about for that pretty sibling? What does she get? Whole bunch of volunteers. And you get to see this through your whole life as a sassy woman. Sorry, as a fat woman. Or as an ugly woman. A woman with a big nose. A woman who's too tall or too skinny. Too short. Of course, a lot of guys like short women. A lot of women like tall men. Sometimes you end up with a hell of a mismatch. It's Sunday. I got court tomorrow. I'm not able to do anything with any of the stuff I got. I live in my car and I'm too gimpy to carry shit where I need to have it. I'm going to spend all of my money trying to maintain all of this stuff because it is fucking important. See, the ugly boys don't have it any nicer than the ugly girls. Matter of fact, we have it worse. Because our guilt is just assumed and because you're going to throw us under the bus when you don't get what you want from that tall guy. Or when you get beaten by that tall guy and we come and help you. And then you go back to him within 2 weeks. We only exist when you're being beaten. Or, in many cases, as we've come to find out recently, situations where you just pretended like you were beaten. Pretended like you were abused. Because it gets you sympathy. Attention, even though it's actually negative attention. There are people actually being harmed. The majority of those killing themselves are boys, and it's not the boys that you throw yourselves at. It's not the boys who are beating on you. It's not the boys who are raping you that are killing themselves. The ones who are killing themselves are the ones who you are constantly treating like they're not good enough. They're not giving enough. No matter how much they give. And then you plant yourself with somebody who only gives a shit about himself because he knows he's tall. He knows he's good looking. He knows he makes good money. He knows you're a dime a dozen even if you're pretty. So the way pretty girls treat us, pretty boys treat you. And you fall for it every time. Oh, a boy that you have a crush on could never, ever commit rape. He's good looking. Your mama says you'd have beautiful babies together. In Chapel, Nebraska, one guy dated 7 different women and abused all 7 of them in the same way. I knew several of those women. I was friends with several of those women. Now what happens when you warn a woman about the kind of man that she's going after? Oh, he's not like that to me. Not yet. Not until he gets what he wants, and then you're gone. You get to see through this Natalie Bollinger bullshit. How looks were the most important thing to the American people. How true is that? Well, actually, it was important to people all over the world. He looks like a this, he looks like a that. And because I have a particular look, apparently, that makes it okay to harm me? That's fucking sick. Because I look like a hobo, it's okay to blame me for all the things that you're not allowed to blame on blacks or Mexicans anymore. I get on here, I point, counterpoint. A lot of people get on to complain about men, or women, women. I do the same thing. And then I stop and I point out which women and which men, because we are not all the same. I'd rather learn from a sassy fat woman than from somebody who paints her face on every day. That's for damn sure. Because as long as you're painting that face on, you're in competition. And that's nobody's fault but your own. That's your competition. You and your sister gonna get along? Or are you gonna be in competition with one another? Make sure my tallywhacker ain't hanging out. It ain't. Going to Safeway, gonna get myself something. Who knows? Something cheap, I'm sure. You get to hear that stuff your mommy and daddy teach you about how you have beautiful babies together. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. But what part of your life are you giving up? And to what kind of a person?